Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today I thought it would be fun for you to come along with me in the garden. My mom and I have this term that when we don't really have like a major project that we're going to do, we say we're going to go piddle in the garden. Piddle or puttering around in the garden. Now I know for some of y'all, piddle has a totally different meaning, but that is not what we're going to be doing today in the garden. It just simply means we're going to go from one little task to the next, get a lot of those little small jobs done today. We are standing here in front of the garden boxes where I just planted the garlic last week in this box, the bulbs up there. What we're going to do today is, oh goodness, let's see, this will be fun. Let's see if somebody comes out of this, yeah. See, this is the thing that happens at Creekside. I start one project and then something happens and something else brand new comes along. You see that back there? Guess what that is? Yep, my friends, that is a tractor trailer with some aqua pots in it. So guess what we're going to go do? We're going to go unload the trailer. Be back in a second. I tell you what, a great truck driver is worth his weight in gold. Oh, love the guys from Southeastern, and that is a fantastic driver. He's amazing. All right, so we got a pallet of the Techno White aqua pots. So Techno White has the lines, the vases here have the lines that run vertical up and down, and then let's see if we can get one shows a little bit better maybe. If you can see that that's the flat rim pot right here, and those lines run horizontal. So we will get those unpacked at some point, get them inspected. They look nice and good. Everything looks okay right now. And yeah, get those inspected and get those out for sale for our customers. And there's a quick shot of the greenhouse right quick. Got the curtains up. They're doing good. We'll come back later and show them in a little bit. But right now, we're going to get back over there and do the project that we had started to do. Alrighty, we're going to try this one more time. Basically, long story short, what we're going to do is put the garden boxes to bed for the winter. I have on each box, there we go. You can see I have 2 bags of land and sea on each of the ones. I'm not going to amend right now the middle one, which is what holds my herbs. It's doing great. I may amend it in the spring, but for now I'm just going to leave it alone because my herbs are really taking over and there's not a whole lot of room to get in there. I'm just not going to disturb them today. I'm going to leave them alone. So each of the boxes is going to get 2 bags of land and sea, except for this first one right here, because remember when I planted garlic, I added the black gold soil to it. It has the compost and all that. So this one is good. What it is going to get is a tub full of leaf litter. Jackson and my mama, they're the great dynamic duo for collecting leaves this time of year. So they work together and they went and got me a 15-gallon tub for each of the boxes here with this great leaf litter. So let's look at that in case you're like, what in the world is leaf litter? Leaf litter or leaf mulch is just a fancy word for a bunch of chopped up leaves. So of course here in November, North Carolina, our leaves have really started to fall. Jackson and Mama go through wherever the leaves are and work with the mower and just chop up the leaves. They go back and forth, get them nice and chopped up. Yes, there is some grass in there that you can see, but for the most part, it is just nice chopped up leaves. So what we're gonna do is top dress each of the flower boxes, the garden boxes rather, with this. I did this last year, and this is still the leaves from last year. We got a nice thick layer last year, so we're gonna do that again. It is an amazing way to add great nutrients to your garden boxes. It retains moisture, prevents weeds, it decomposes, turns to compost, and you're gonna have lots of beautiful, very, very happy worms when you use this. So I am just gonna go through and spread out the tub of the leaf litter here in this box, and then on all the other boxes, I'm going to take those 2 bags of the land and seed compost, spread them out, and then put the tubs on top of it. This first box, second box rather, right here that you see has a nice thick layer of leaves from last year, so I'm going to try to save some of those, pull them back using my mulch rake that is sticking up right there, and then do the process. So y'all just sit back and watch me work. Okay friends, as simple as that, the garden boxes are ready for winter. I can leave them alone all winter long. I don't have to worry about them, and I know that they are being fed and being nourished, and the little worms are going to grow and be very, very happy this winter. I can come back this spring and just start planting directly into the garden boxes. A little bit of work in the fall will pay massive dividends later on in the growing season. So this little project I can check off the list. It is done now because we're in the full sun, getting a little warm in here. We're gonna move over to the shade and start doing a little bit of fall cleanup in the shade garden. So let's just mosey on over there. So here we are, just literally right across the driveway from where we were in the garden boxes. And behind me, you can see the shade garden. And you can probably tell that we have had some frosty mornings, and there are some perennials that have gotten knocked down, and I'm ready to clean it up. Now, this will not be my once and done cleanup for this bed because there are certain other things that need to be done. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what I'm gonna do is just flip the camera around really quick and just kind of go through and tell you what I'm gonna do and then what will be left to be done in the next coming weeks. Okay, so here we are in the shade garden, and if you remember, or if this is your very first time watching us, this is the little strip of a shade garden that we have right alongside of our house. These two windows that you can see are our kitchen, and then right here beside of us is the driveway. So we have to come by this bed every single time that we come and leave the house. So it's really high visibility. What I am going to do today is, first of all, Hay racks, if you remember, I fake planted them. They are not actually, the plants are not planted directly into the soil. Everything is looking good except for the mums. Mums have gotten fried, so I will pull those out. Not quite sure what I'm going to replace with them quite yet because it's not quite time to plant or decorate for Christmas, winter. I don't know, we'll see, but those are definitely going to come out. Then you can see that the hostas have started to take a hit along with my Dre's Dagger fern that is right here. The perennials need to come out. So all the perennials will get ripped out. The only perennials I think that I have in here on this side is the Endless Illumination Broalia. So it's dotted throughout here. It will come out. The hosta in front will get cleaned up. That'll be super easy. The holly fern that is right here behind Bashful Betty, she is an evergreen, so she gets to stay all season long. I will get my caladiums pulled out of the pot. Some more of the annuals, ferns that have gotten a little bit of a hit. The hosta that's definitely gotten a huge hit. And then the biggest difference, like, whoo, shocker, is of course the Ariella Sun King. So if you remember these pictures back from this summer, Ariella Sun King took up this entire spot, huge, massive. It does not like the cold. It is done. So I will come in here and I will clip it all the way down to the ground. So you can see right there, it will get clipped literally all the way back. So I know that y'all have asked how far apart I have these two. So you can see there's one and then there's two. They may have 3 feet between them as far as the overall distance. So that will make a huge difference as far as cleaning up this bed. My hydrangeas, all the hydrangeas in here bloom on old growth. So this, I believe, is Diva. So none of my hydrangeas are going to get cut because they bloom on old growth. Franny's hydrangea, if you remember, the big, huge, massive one right here, is going to get moved once we get a really hard freeze and it zaps her back, so I can move her over to the nursery where she can just grow and be happy. And then my only other annuals, sorry, words are hard. The only other annuals I have in here are my Sun Patience. Clearly they got zapped as well and they are not happy, so those will get ripped out. Along with, I'll go ahead and clean up my Solomon Seal. Solomon Seal, of course, is right here. Fantastic shade-loving perennial. Yeah, so it got zapped back and it will get cut along with my Ghost Fern. We'll go ahead and take out the Ghost Fern. And when I say take out, I simply mean cut it back to the ground. There is some more Solomon Seal right here. And then remember I told you that we had these Sun Patience were not planted. See, they're still in their Proven Winners pot because when I was planting this spring, there was a yellow jacket's nest. And if you remember, if you've been following us, let's see if I can show you this. Can you see that hole? That is where the yellow jacket's nest was. And our sweet little friendly skunk came and dug them out and eliminated them for us. So we had 3 yellow jackets nests in this vicinity and the skunk came and got them all. It was fantastic. So I will fill that hole in with some good soil. Probably, I don't know if I'll just use black gold or if I'll use Land and Sea to fill that back in. So what I'm going to do is just set the camera up, just let it go, and I'm going to get in here and work, and y'all can watch a sister get to work out here in the garden. right, friends, the bed has been tidied up for the time being. Again, this is not how I'm going to leave it for the rest of the winter, but it looks so much better. Look at that. It just looks so much cleaner and tidier than what it was, and all that old foliage, that debris has been cleaned out. That's one really kind of key point as to why you do want to make sure you get in there with your perennials and your annuals and do a little bit of cleanup, is because over the winter you can have possibly some harmful insects that overwinter. They lay their eggs in that foliage and you want to get rid of it, get it nice and clean. Remember, this is a great time of year to go ahead and lay a nice layer of compost and a fresh layer of mulch onto your beds. Put them to sleep for the winter, so that way in the spring they come back nice and happy because they've had all winter to soak up all of those great nutrients from the compost. Now, you will notice that I did not take out all of the perennials. The hostas that were really melted, had been frozen, they literally just came up out of the ground, as did the Solomon seal. I did not have to cut that. They just snapped right off. So that is a clear sign that those guys are ready to come out of the ground. As far as the foliage, it's just ready to be cleaned up and tidied up. There is one area that I know that I'm going to need to do some work on, so let me show you that area. To give you a little bit of perspective, right underneath this sink, that is, well, obviously it's not a sink, it's a window. On the other side is my kitchen sink, hence why I said sink. It's almost lunchtime, can you tell? Whew, Jenny's brain's not working, needs a little food, but I digress. Underneath the hay rack is where the two Ariella Sun Kings are, where their foliage was. They got massive this year, and so next year I can only suspect that they're going to get bigger. So they were completely shading out this autumn frost hosta. There's a painted fern right here. The ground cover is, I'll have to figure out what that is. My mama gave it to me a couple of years ago, and it loves to just spread under the deep, deep shade. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So obviously that's going to stay. So that's going to stay. Look at my poor Queen of Hearts right here. She is on the struggle bus because she got so shaded out. This is another ghost fern, I believe. You can tell that it really fell down with the weight of the Sun Kings on them. Then I have another hosta right there, and even this Lenten Rose was getting squished, and the Wiggles and Squiggles hosta, it might be able to stay. But these guys are just going to have to get moved out because I do not want to move my Sun Kings. I love that they fill up this nice wall and they go all the way up to the window box. So those will have to come out at some point soon. Now, because I know that they're going to come out, I did not want to take away all the foliage. That way, when it's time for me to come back and move them, I know where the plant is. Even if it's just a little bit of sporadic foliage on the fern or the hosta, at least I know where it is and it gives me an idea of where to dig. So that's really the only thing that I'm going to have to do. Once we get a nice hard freeze and all of the rest of the foliage is killed back, then I will come back through and add some land and sea, and we will add a fresh layer of mulch to this bed. Then it will be ready for the winter. But I think that is all we are going to do today because my boys have haircuts this afternoon and I've got to get Jackson to Jerry. So with that note, I am going to bid you adieu and have a wonderful day. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.